Giggle Gorilla Studios coming at you live. The trees, the Lincoln Financial Field, man.
We're the Philadelphia Eagles play. We're in the Link. I was unaware there were trees here, but I've never actually seen an Eagles game live. I do need to do that at some point. They are my favorite team.
If they don't got trees, we'll just plant trees, bro. That's how we do it.
Right. We kind of roll up. Anytime we come to an on-location shoot, we just bring, like, portable trees with us. Part of our crew just sets them all up, so we're covered no matter where we go. Anyways, NFL season's coming up soon. Well, preseason is a thing right now, but no one cares about that. But regular season is starting pretty soon, and we are both desperate to get that hit of football back in our lives. And so today, we're just going to take a stroll down memory lane and talk about some of our favorite NFL moments and games and plays. And wherever the conversation takes us, that's where we're going to go. I think Braden is planning to start out on hating on his favorite team's performance last season. So I'll let him take it away.
Oh, the Patriots just fucked up a lot last season, especially the back half. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Cinci comeback that they fumbled. Literally that they fumbled because Ramondre could not hold on to that last ball, sadly. Oh, that game was so frustrating, dude. I was getting so hyped when the Patriots were coming back, and then once they tied it, I was like, holy shit, no way. Then the Bengals got that field goal, and the Patriots need to get a field goal to tie it again. And Mac Jones and the crew just kind of fumbled that one. And the week before, they fucked up against the Raiders. Mac Jones screwed up against the Raiders. It was 2 very painful weeks in a row, and those are the main 2 reasons the Patriots were not in the playoffs last season.
Dude, I wouldn't put the Raiders thing entirely on Mac Jones, though. I mean, the fact that he was in a situation where he had to tackle an NFL linebacker to save the game, I'm not stopping that dude in that situation.
I don't remember who threw the ball, but it's whoever threw it. It's mostly their fault.
Yeah, I don't remember who that was. It was one of the receivers that just threw the ball into no man.
Was it Jacoby Myers? Or
I think it was Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby, you screwed up, dude.
Yeah, that game was insane. I saw that play happen, and I immediately didn't know how I was going to console you after something like that. I was like, oh, God. Braden's probably already driving to the nearest ledge. This is horrible. That was bad. That was really bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, the Sunday night game that week was because this was an afternoon game, it was a 3:25 game. And the night game was Washington versus New York, Giants versus Commanders. I'm like, why is there such a terrible night game on the night? Good thing it wasn't good because I wouldn't have been able to focus on it anyway.
Yeah, I don't think I watched that game at all.
I think that's they tied it.
Oh, that's probably right. Yeah. Dude, we got to get rid of ties. I don't like ties at all in the NFL. I don't know how you get rid of them. I mean, I guess you just play until someone wins, but injuries are a very real concern. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I don't care. Unless it's the Eagles tying that saves them from being literally 4-13 in 2020, 2021, and I'm just sad. That season was bad. I remember so many awful moments from that season. Most of them involved Carson Wentz being a dumbass. Yeah, that was not fun, but it kind of helped that the rest of the NFC East was also just horrible. So I didn't feel that bad because it wasn't like the Cowboys were great or freaking Washington won that division at 7-9 or whatever they were.
Yeah, 7-9.
Yeah. Not a good season for the NFC East, but within 2 years, look where they were last year. They had the best combined record in football. But, yeah. Okay. Anything else about the Patriots last season? Because I know
not last season. Team. No.
Okay. You have a lot of good things to say about the Patriots over your time as a fan. So
yeah, I have. I have one more fuck up that I'm going to mention, but it's not from last season.
Okay. I don't really know where to start. Obviously, I'm an Eagles fan. Obviously, there's one game that is basically the highlight of my time as an Eagles fan. But I don't know if we should go right into that. I'm going to start, I guess, pretty much my first season really being an Eagles fan regular season game, Eagles-Giants, like the 2010 season. The Eagles go down by 21 points with 8 minutes left, 8.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And they come all the way back. They tie the game. Mike Vick, who's the quarterback, plays awesome. And then they get a stop, and there's 17 seconds left. And the Giants make the stupid decision to punt the football to my man, Desean Jackson. He bobbles the ball, picks it up, and takes it to the house. I was living in Philadelphia at the time. I was staying in an apartment, and that place went nuts. Everyone had the game on, and those walls were too thin for that moment on that day, because everyone was going crazy. So that's, one of my favorite memories, because I just remember, oh my god, they're actually going to do this. They're going to come back. And then it ends in, the biggest, most entertaining way possible on a goddamn punt return touchdown as time expires. I love that moment.
Yeah, it's I've watched the play back. I wasn't watching live back then or anything, but I've seen that play a few times. I don't know how the Giants allowed that to happen. I know it's Desean Jackson, and especially back then, that dude was quick as fuck, agile as fuck. Yeah, he could get around everyone.
Yeah, just kick the ball into out of bounds and go to overtime. That's all he had to do. But, yeah, love that moment. Thank you, Giants punter, for allowing that to happen. That was great. There were a lot of moments from that season that are just, random that I remember. Obviously, the Eagles ended up losing to the Packers that went on to win the Super Bowl that year in the wild card. The freaking Jets were in the AFC Championship that year. That was crazy.
Second year in a row.
I know. They had some stretches where, Mark Sanchez was actually kind of that guy pal at quarterback. I think the Bears made the NFC Championship. That's always weird to me looking back. Jay Cutler, baby, throwing dimes.
Always.
Yeah, of course.
He's Jay Cutler.
Always throwing dimes. The GOAT, actually.
On that note, there is something else from last season. It's not a bad thing that the Pats did, but since you were bringing up punt returns, the game between the Patriots and Jets that was 3-3 the entire fucking game until the last play where the Jets punted it away and the Patriots returned that for a touchdown. Man, that game was boring, but that was a pretty insane way to end a boring game.
Yeah, I remember that. Didn't the guy who returned that have touchdowns in a ton of different ways last year? He was just playing every position for you guys.
Probably.
I think he had a punt return touchdown and a receiving touchdown and a pick six. He had some crazy season where he wasn't actually good.
Oh, was it Jonathan Jones that returned it?
Consistently.
Because I know he had a pick six against Cinci.
Yeah, I think that might have been it. I don't know. I just remember hearing about the crazy stats that he had where he had he didn't score that many times or was a very consistent player, but he was just always in the right spot to get full touchdowns. I don't know.
Yeah. But also on the same note of returns, the one that's painful for me to remember, the Miami Miracle.
Dude, I didn't actually watch that live. Did you watch it live?
I saw it.
Okay, that's tough. I mean, for a Patriots fan, that's tough.
It was 33-27. I'm pretty sure the Patriots kicked the ball away. No time left on the clock. Miami returns it for a touchdown. Extra point goes through. They win the game by 1 point.
That is insane. That's one of the only times we've seen the crazy just lateral.
Actually work. Since the Oilers did it against the Bills.
Right. So that was crazy. Who was Fitzpatrick their quarterback then, or is that a year?
Oh,
before? Who was the quarterback for the Dolphins? Was it still Tannehill, or is that?
I am not sure. I think it was I don't even remember what season it was. It was 2017, I think, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay. Well, I do remember that happening. I've seen the play a couple times. It's just wild that worked, like I said, because
especially against the Patriots.
I know. Dude, the Dolphins have had the Patriots number, low-key.
I know they have. We never sweep them, dude. The Patriots never sweep the Dolphins, ever.
Yeah, and it's the Dolphins can be way worse than them. The year.
Yeah, and they still win somehow. They could be playing with a third-string quarterback against Tom Brady and an elite defense, and they still somehow eke out a win. It's I don't understand this.
Yeah, not to rub salt in any more wounds, but I remember literally the last week of the 2018-19 season, the Dolphins beat the Patriots with Fitzmagic, which cost the Patriots like a first-round bye. So then they obviously had to play the Titans, and they lost. But that was just such a, like, I know Chiefs fans were like, because the Chiefs then got the number 2.
You mean 19 to 20 season? 18 to 19 is when the Patriots beat the Rams.
Yeah, my bad. Mixing up the years. There's too many years, and
there's a lot of years.
Old, but yeah, there are a lot of years. 19 to 20. You got to beat the Dolphins, man. Just like sweep them one time. I don't know.
Nah, they got it this year. Trust me.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're gonna sweep them this year.
You'll see.
Maybe if Tua gets concussed both times.
Well, he's been concussed like 770,000 times already. I don't know if he's going to be even playing at the same level he was.
That's true.
He's probably gotten concussed in practice already.
He's got to not get concussed at all, because I feel like one more and that dude's done.
Yeah, I don't know how that dude still has a memory after how many times he's been like concussed. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
like the football gods just do not want him there. They're like, no.
He just keeps fighting back, man. I don't know. I like Tua. I don't think he's like.
Yeah, I don't have anything against him.
When he's on the field, he's good. We'll see how long he can stay on the field this year. But let's see. Where do I want to go next? I guess I'll just shout out one that Braden doesn't care for that much, but I love, which is the second time the Chiefs and Bills met in the playoffs in the Mahomes and Josh Allen era. Famous divisional game that obviously 13 seconds left. The Chiefs go down and score a field goal to tie the game. It goes into overtime. Josh Allen sadly does not get to touch the ball, even though he played awesome in that game. And the Chiefs win, but that was literally so back and forth in the fourth quarter. The offenses were just scoring at will, which I know Braden doesn't like because he's no fun and just hates anything cool happening in the NFL. But
I just don't like it happening that fast. It's like, where is the defense? You should not be allowing the offense to score in 15 seconds every fucking drive. It just gets on my nerves. I don't know why. It just does.
No, I understand. I love that game, though. It was really fun to watch. Very tense. Even as, like, I didn't really have a dog in the fight. I was kind of rooting for the Bills, I guess, because the Chiefs had been so dominant to that point, and I felt like the Bills were kind of rising up, and that was going to be their moment. But it was not to be. Thankfully, Joe Burrow and the Bengals got it done the next week, so we didn't have to worry about seeing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl for the third straight year. So thank you, Cincinnati.
Yeah, since he was down 24-3 or something like that, like at one point in the game,
21-3 at halftime. Maybe it was 24-3 at one point.
Yeah, it could have.
Third quarter.
Okay, yeah, 21-3 was probably the biggest deficit.
Yeah, yep. And then the Bengals came back. The Bengals clamped Mahomes and the Chiefs. Like, other than the Tampa Bay Super Bowl, that's probably the most I've seen the Chiefs offense struggle against a team for like that extended period of time, like a full half ever in the Mahomes era, because they could not get anything done.
Yeah, they couldn't do anything at all. They only eked out a field goal in the second half.
Yeah, they got a field goal. That was it. And then the Bengals go on to win it in overtime. Even in overtime, the Chiefs got the ball, same as they did against Buffalo, and they could not get a first down. So,
good on the Bengals.
I know, right?
Too bad they couldn't beat the Rams.
Right. They should have beat the Rams. Well, I don't know about should have, but I wanted them to. The Rams kind of assembled the Infinity Stones for that Super Bowl ring.
Joe Burrow did have 5 drives to get the lead and never did, but...
Yeah, well, it was his first full season starting as a quarterback, so...
He still made it to the Super Bowl, though. You can't make excuses.
That's fair. I'm sure that's exactly what he'd tell you. I do feel like the Bengals are our hope against the Chiefs, just winning every year, so I'm going to keep cheering for them. Obviously, the Bills could do it, but I don't know. It
really just feels like Manning v. Brady again, and kind of like, you know how the Ravens like squeaked in every now and then to the AFC Championship, could beat the Pats? Mm-hmm. That's kind of, we don't know if the Bills can beat the Chiefs, but or if they can beat the Bengals, because they got destroyed by Cinci.
Yeah, that game was not close.
At all.
Buffalo, bro.
At all.
In the snow, in Buffalo, home game, and Cincinnati literally dog walked them, just rocked their shit, and walked out of there like it was nothing.
Yeah, it was an ugly game.
That was not.
I remember
not a good game.
I was home and I was driving back, and I was like, I watched the first half before I left from Arkansas to Tennessee, and I was listening to the second half while I was on my way home. And, like, I turned it off before the third quarter was even over because I think it got to, like, 27-10 before the fourth quarter even. And that was, I don't know. It wasn't much of a game, any of the game.
No, it was not. I will let you go, but just because you brought up the Ravens, one I want to bring up is the Ravens-Broncos divisional game, and I think 2012, 13, whatever year the Ravens made it to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 2012 to 13.
That game went into double overtime. That was, I think, Peyton Manning's first year with the Broncos. And that game was awesome. I remember watching it. The Broncos were, like, up by a touchdown with, like, less than a minute left. And then Joe Flacco throws that, like, huge pass down the sideline that, like, the receiver just gets behind the defender and catches it for a touchdown to tie the game. And then overtime was like a total stalemate. I don't remember another playoff game going into double overtime. So that was like crazy to me.
I don't either. But I do. I've seen highlights of that game before, and that's pretty crazy. Didn't it end like 38-35 or something like that?
Yeah, Justin Tucker kicked a field goal. Double overtime. I think pretty early on into double overtime. Like, I think the Ravens had the ball like at the end of the first overtime, and then it just carried over since it was in the playoffs. So, yeah, that was cool. Dude, Joe Flacco gets totally forgotten about now, and I'm not going to say that's not for good reason because he hasn't done anything. There was like a 3-year period where Joe Flacco was like a borderline elite quarterback. He threw no interceptions that entire playoff run, which is something I didn't know until like a couple days ago.
That's kind of crazy.
But yeah. Yeah, I think he had like 11 touchdowns and no interceptions, or 9 touchdowns and no interceptions, or something like that. So, good on you, Joe Flacco.
Well, I guess, speaking of divisional games and Joe Flacco, we can stick with the Ravens and go with one they lost against the Patriots in the 2014-15 postseason.
Okay.
I thought this game was sick.
I don't remember this game that much, so I'll let you take the reins. I think, does Gostkowski kick a field goal to win it, or?
It's a 4-point game, so the Patriots won by.
Oh, is it a 4-point game? Okay, yeah, I don't remember then.
No, the Patriots only scored touchdowns. It was 35-31. But at 2 points in the game, the Patriots were down by 14. It's honestly really similar to the Super Bowl because I'm pretty sure they were down by 14 to Seattle at 2 points in that game too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was going back and forth. It's just like it's a really good game, really even when the Patriots were behind a lot of the game, but that was just the Patriots way. It's kind of how the Chiefs are now, like especially. They're good at playing from behind. I don't know why, but Tom Brady is the master of playing from behind.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, this game was just so sick because 14-point deficits, the Patriots went down. There was never a bigger deficit than a 2-possession game, so it never felt like it was out of reach. It's just a really competitive game all the way through, and that's the kind of playoff games I love.
Mm-hmm. What year is that? Is that the Seattle Super Bowl?
Yeah, Patriots Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's much better than the AFC Championship where the Patriots went on to beat the Colts 45-7, so.
Yikes. Speaking of the Colts, I won't spend too much time on this, but I just was looking up Andrew Luck highlights earlier because I missed that guy. And I think I don't think it's that year, but like a wild card game against Kansas City, which I don't remember, but apparently it was like a 45 to 44 point game with the Andrew Luck Colts against, I'm assuming, the Alex Smith Chiefs, but I don't even know. You remember the play? I'm sure you've seen the play where like they're on the goal line and it's a fumble, and then Andrew Luck picks up the fumble and dives across the goal line to score a touchdown.
I don't know. Not remembering it.
Well, that's a sick play. Anyway, yes, the Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl was awesome.
Yeah, we can talk about that, I guess.
I guess it just leads right into it. I mean, Ravens, Patriots win. They go on to
destroy the Colts.
Yeah,
and the Colts beat the Broncos the week before in the divisional.
Yeah, and I guess before we get to this, though, we should maybe talk about the NFC Championship, which was a great game, Seattle versus Green Bay.
God, dude, I remember in school that year, everyone except for me said the Packers were gonna go. I was like, nope, it's gonna be Seattle and New England. And I fucking nailed it. I didn't expect Green Bay to like control the whole first half of that game and most of the first half of the third quarter of that game, because Seattle didn't even like score any points until the back half of the third quarter.
Yeah, no. That game was almost looked ugly. Like, we almost turned it off, I think, because...
Oh, we were getting close, too. Yeah, I was watching it with my mom, and I think my sister was watching it with us, too.
Yeah, Green Bay was totally in control, and then I think around that, like, the last third of the third quarter, leading into that fourth quarter, Seattle started to really build momentum, and then obviously they get the iconic onside kick, are able to send it into overtime.
Dude, the 2-point conversion that they get is absurd because Russell Wilson like backs up like 20 yards behind where the line of scrimmage was, and he just chunks that shit up, and like I think it was Jermaine Kearse that came down with it. I'm like, what is this? It's basically like, I don't know, that was like the closest thing to like Patrick Mahomes-esque you saw before Patrick Mahomes came in.
Yeah. Speaking of 2-point conversions, I wish I could talk about this one more, but the Eagles did lose the game. But Jalen Hurts' 2-point conversion run in to tie the game in the Super Bowl this past year, I will always love that because he literally gets stopped at like the 2-yard line by 2 Chiefs defenders, and he just wills his way into the goal like end zone. Like, I don't know how he got that, but that's my quarterback, baby. Anyway, yeah. Packers Seahawks, the 2-point conversion, the onside kick, and then what I like about that game is they didn't end it on like a weak like just drive down the field, like kick a field goal or score a touchdown in the red zone or whatever. Russell Wilson throws a bomb from the 50-yard line in overtime to ice the game. That is awesome.
Yeah, and at that point, Aaron Rodgers had not won an overtime game, so he was still winless in those.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. I don't know. Obviously, like Aaron Rodgers, one of the most talented ever. We'll talk about him some more later on. But just some of his like he hasn't been clutch in a lot of big moments throughout his career, and I think that's a genuine knock on him. Obviously, the talent's there. He throws one of the prettiest balls in the history of the league, but there's a lot of big moments where Aaron Rodgers does not show up.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about Super Bowl 49 now, though.
Okay,
I think we'll mostly talk about the fourth quarter, right? Because the fourth quarter of this thing was absurd. It's so fucking insane. Just the last 2 minutes alone. But much happened on that final drive. Seattle, like, just getting down there in position to score again was insane. I think it was Jermaine Kearse again that, you know, he didn't catch it. He bobbled it, and he still caught it. I'm like, that's where I thought the Pats were done. I was like, fuck. There's no way that the Patriots are going to win this, is there? Because there's less than a minute left. Seattle's going to run down the clock. They're going to score a touchdown. Walk out of this game with another Lombardi. And then Malcolm Butler interception at the goal line. Oh my God. They just threw him in because they thought the game was over. And dude came up clutch.
Bro literally single-handedly ends a potential Seahawks dynasty before it even gets started.
Yeah, the Legion of Boom falls apart after that. Just Seattle goes... Seattle didn't get bad, but they went downhill, obviously.
Yeah. Russell Wilson still was great for years after that, but they were never able to get back to the Super Bowl. Why would you not run the ball with Marshawn Lynch? Obviously,
and it was only second down, I'm pretty sure, when they threw it. They had like 3, and they had 2 timeouts. They could have ran that thing 3 times if they needed to. There's no way the Patriots were going to stop beast mode that many times.
Yeah, and that was like during the time where beast mode was maybe arguably the best running back in the league, if not the best.
He's definitely the best power back in the league.
Yeah. I mean, Adrian Peterson was starting to wind down in his prime. I can't really remember other guys who were like great back then, specifically not power back. Marshawn Lynch was the guy that you go to if you need to power through and get some yards. They did not, and obviously Russell Wilson throws the interception, and the game is over. And the Patriots win their 4th?
That
5th?
was their 4th, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that kind of like reinvigorated the Patriots, dude. Like, they, even though they had been very competitive, they went a decent amount of time without winning a Super Bowl, because obviously they lost the 2 to the Giants.
It was like 10 years.
yeah, they got beat in some championships, divisional games or whatever. They were always in the mix, and Brady was still great every year, but they went 10 years without a ring, and then they get this one, and then they win it in 51, they win it in 53. So, yeah.
Every other year in that stretch was just the Patriots' year.
God damn it, Seahawks. Like, why could you not just run the football? Like, I don't care. I don't mind the Pats, but I definitely didn't like them when that
I remember I remember how excited I was obviously when that happened. But I remember my dad being like, God damn it, why'd I bet on Tom Brady? Because he like put money on the game for the Patriots to win because, you know, never bet against Tom Brady and the Patriots. And he was so pissed that they were about to lose, and Malcolm Butler gets that interception. I'm like, yeah, what you got to say now, Dad? He's like, thank you, Brady. Thank you, Patriots. Thank you, Malcolm Butler.
On the topic of that, on like having bet money and just to wind down from a Super Bowl, because we've still got a couple more of those to talk to, at least one more for sure. I want to talk about this past year wildcard game, the Chargers choking a 27-0 lead against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I had told my dad to bet on the Jaguars for this game. I think the line was like Chargers -2, or maybe it was Jags -2. I don't know. Anyways, I had bet on the Jaguars to win, and obviously that game starts out, and Trevor Lawrence throws 4 interceptions in the first half, and the Jaguars go down 0-27. And my dad was not particularly happy with the pick, and I was like, I mean, you can't win them all. You know, how was I supposed to know this game would turn out like this?
How was I supposed to know that Trevor Lawrence would throw 4 interceptions in the first half, Dad?
I know, that's insane. But thankfully for our money, Trevor Lawrence threw 4 touchdown passes after that, and the Chargers choked.
Dude, Doug Peterson's ballsy decision to go for that 2-point conversion is the entire reason that game was won in the fourth quarter and it never went into overtime. I couldn't believe he was doing that, because I'm like,
yeah,
what, you're risking that now? Because it wasn't even to get the lead. It was the 3rd touchdown. They had 20 instead of kicking the extra point to go down 6, which I guess that they failed that one. They could always go for 2 on the next drive and tie it up. So that's probably his thought process. But since they got it, it put them into position to win, and it was a smart move. It was a smart call.
And can we talk about the, I think the 4th and 1, where they line up like wishbone with like the 2 guys in the backfield behind Trevor, thinking it's a quarterback sneak, and they run the like stretch to the outside that goes for like 30, and basically he puts them in position to win the game-winning field goal. I thought that was a crazy call and a hell of a run.
Oh, and while we're talking about these like sneaky plays, let's go back to that Seattle-Green Bay NFC Championship real quick. I believe the first touchdown that Seattle scored in that game, they were kicking a fake field goal. They faked a field goal and scored a touchdown off of it.
I remember that.
And that's what gave them life in that game.
Yeah, I remember that. That was cool. But yeah, the Jaguars kick the field goal. My dad had come back down because we had both turned the game off until I was like scoreboard watching, and I went back down.
Yeah, I turned it off too. I think I turned it off at halftime, and then I watched like the last 4 minutes or so. Because I think it was you that was like texting me. You're like, "This is fucking insane," and I like looked at the score. I'm like, "Hell, the Jaguars are coming back."
Well,
like the Chargers really haven't scored at all in the second half. So I like had to put the game on just so like I knew that my thing was up to date, because I'm like, I don't believe this, and I turn it on. I'm like, nope, that sure as hell is what's happening.
I think I texted you originally, and I was like, well, it was like they were starting to get momentum. Like I think they had scored maybe 2 touchdowns or a touchdown and a field goal, and I was like, what if the Chargers Charger? That would be really funny, right? And then like they scored another touchdown, and I'm like, all caps, what if the Chargers Chargers? And then they win the game. They kick the field goal. My dad's back downstairs. I go, never a doubt, baby. Never a doubt. And we won the bet. But I was definitely doubting that. All right. But, hey, the Jags, I think the Jags are coming this year. I mean, I'm probably higher on them than I should be, but Calvin Ridley, I think, is going to be really good.
I hope so. I want another team that's not the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Bengals in the mix, you know?
I think the Jaguars can be that team this year. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence has to show that the second half of last season wasn't a fluke, but I think he will.
The Jets, if Aaron Rodgers has a return to form, could also be that team. We got to watch out for them.
That's true. Should we talk about Aaron Rodgers' season of Hail Marys?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so the first one is obviously regular season.
On his birthday.
On his birthday. They call it the Miracle at the Motown, I think, because it was in Detroit.
City, baby.
At the Lions, yeah. And Aaron Rodgers just literally throws a Hail Mary, and it works, and he's just that guy. Like, Aaron Rodgers is that guy. And that is crazy, right? To have a Hail Mary work to end up... Was that to win the game, or did that send it to overtime?
It was to win.
Okay. That's what I thought. So
I think they were down by a field goal. And yeah, they got that Hail Mary and won by 4.
That makes sense. So you win the game off a Hail Mary. That's unbelievable, right? That is like
very
once every couple
That's some Madden shit.
Maybe. Like, that's just like, you don't see that happen all that often. Except he did it again in the same season in the playoffs against the Cardinals.
He threw 2 in one drive, bro.
Yeah. That was just, he was the king of the Hail Marys. I don't know. Unfortunately, the Cardinals ended up winning the game, but...
Well, they went into overtime, and at that time, Aaron Rodgers still hadn't won an overtime game. Aaron Rodgers just couldn't win overtime games against good teams. I don't know why. Because his first overtime win came against the Andy Dalton Bengals, dude.
Yeah. That's not great, but still through literally 3 Hail Marys in one season. That's crazy. Who was the quarterback for the Cardinals? Is that Carson Palmer still?
Yeah, it was Carson Palmer.
Okay.
Yeah, he, threw that... Larry Fitzgerald was wide the fuck open in overtime. I don't know how you leave their number 1 receiver wide open like that. That's all on Green Bay's defense. Because Aaron Rodgers didn't get to touch the ball in overtime, so it's not his fault. That one's not his fault.
Right. Speaking of Hail Marys, though, Cardinals, Bills, regular season. I think this is 2020 to 2021. They call it the Hail Murray because Kyler Murray at quarterback literally scrambles away from a sack.
It was D-Hop's first season there in Arizona.
Yeah, D-Hop's first season there. I think it's week 7. I don't know. The Cardinals are good, not great. The Bills are really looking good. It's a close game the whole time. The Bills take the lead with a 6 Stephon Diggs catch in the corner of the end zone. And then the Cardinals drive down, get to midfield. Kyler uses all of the arm power in his arsenal, literally every ounce of that dude's arm, to sling this thing downfield. And D-Hop goes up over 3 Bills defensive backs and just mosses that shit. I know it was regular season. I don't care about either of the two teams, really. I went nuts when I saw it, because I watched it live, and I was like, there's no way DeAndre Hopkins just did that to grown men.
Yeah, I didn't watch it live because, well, like you said, I didn't care about either of those teams. But I don't remember what game I watched, but I opted to watch something over it, or it wasn't playing here, one or the other. But I did see the highlight because I just had to after I saw what happened. First of all, I saw that Arizona won. I'm like, how? And then I look at the box score and I see the last score was DeAndre Hopkins, a hell of a long pass. I'm like, and then, all over YouTube, I'm seeing the Hail Mary thing. I'm like, okay, let's watch this. And I'm like, what the heck? Kyler Murray delivered that?
In the, best throw of Kyler's career.
Literally.
Yeah. Maybe ever. We'll see. I mean, I'm still open to him recovering from his injury and improving and becoming a great quarterback, but I don't know. I think his window is very, very small right now, especially because I think if he's not playing for a long part of this season, the Cardinals are going to be literally the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah. And
being the worst team in the NFL this year will get you Caleb Williams. So Kyler could be on the way out. We'll see. All right, that's the Hail Mary stuff. There have been some other didn't the Jaguars catch a Hail Mary in some random game in the past decade or so to win? I don't know.
Not sure. I know they picked Ben Roethlisberger off 11 times that year that they made the AFC Championship against the Patriots.
That's wild.
Yeah, because they picked him off like six times in the regular season game, and then they played each other again in the divisional, and they picked him off like 5 times. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Big Ben can just not play against this defense at all. He's getting pressure on him. He throwing to a lethal fucking secondary.
Yep. That Jag secondary was probably one of the best I've ever seen. AJ Bouye, like, still in his prime, like, the short prime that he had, like, he was really good that year.
Yeah, he and Jalen Ramsey were a dangerous duo, dude.
Yeah. That game against the Pats was close. The Jaguars were up pretty late, I think. Not by a lot. Like, they were up by 1 score, but they were still ahead late in the game, and then obviously Tom Brady does.
I think they were up 20-10, and then the Patriots scored 2 touchdowns to win it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, I guess sticking with the AFC South, we can talk about the Marcus Mariota 3-touchdown game against Kansas City. Yeah. He had a receiving touchdown, a passing touchdown, and a rushing touchdown. And that receiving touchdown was from himself. So I guess he technically had 2 passing touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah. Threw the touchdown and caught the touchdown.
That was absurd.
I wasn't following all of this game live, but I had it on the whole time.
I saw the second half.
I think my friend was over, and we had it on the TV, and then on, like, an iPad, we were fucking around and watching Batman and Robin, because he hadn't seen it before, and I was like, you gotta watch this. It's just the most ridiculous thing ever.
Me and Andrew, like, while we tried to watch that one night, I was like, fuck it, let's just put on something stupid. We both passed the fuck out during the opening credits of that movie.
That's funny.
We woke up, like, at the end credits. We were like, oh, fuck, did we fall asleep?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't want to miss that movie if I was making the choice to play it. But it's also...
I'll need some alcohol when I watch that movie, and it's fun. Otherwise, I don't know.
No. So I think the Chiefs were up 21-3 in that game. And then, second half, Titans just start coming back. And it was when Mariota did threw it, got tipped up, he catches it, dives into the end zone. Very acrobatic dive, by the way. That was like the turning point with all the momentum. Because then the Titans were just hype. He runs for a touchdown. He throws a nice block to basically seal the game at the end there. He was doing everything. And that game is just hilarious to me because it's Marcus Mariota. Like, that is the only game Marcus Mariota ever did anything that impressive in his career. And it happened to be a goddamn playoff game. Then they went to Foxborough and got their ass kicked by the Patriots the next week. But, you know. Yeah,
they won that Kansas City game by 1 point. It ended 22-21. I had to look that up, but yeah. I knew it was a 1-point game. I didn't remember what the score was, though.
Yeah.
It's just insane that one guy did all that in a playoff game, nonetheless. Not just some random game against, like, the worst team in the NFL. It was against a playoff team.
On the road, too. Kansas City was the home team. Yeah.
Pretty insane.
I guess I could shout out just some cool plays that happened. I don't know how I didn't mention this when we were talking about Marshawn Lynch, but the Beastquake run against New Orleans in the playoff is one of the most insane singular plays I've ever seen. He breaks like 9 tackles.
The 7-9 Seahawks playing the 11-5 defending Super Bowl champions New Orleans Saints.
Yeah. And Marshawn Lynch does that, and that basically seals the game. I think they were up by 4 at that point, and so...
they won by 11, I think, yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. I watched it live. I was in Philadelphia for those playoffs, and my grandpa was like the most impressed I've ever seen him by one play. He was like, how many tackles did he break?
Too many. So fucking many, dude. He was just...
Too many tackles.
He was stiff-arming dudes. He was jerking dudes off. He's like, nah, bro. No one's stopping me.
Yeah. There's another play. I've only seen it because I was a huge Beast Mode fan and watched like all his highlights. Against the Cardinals that some people called like Beastquake 2, where he basically did the same thing. It wasn't as impressive and it wasn't in a playoff game, but it's the same him just shrugging off tacklers. Like,
yeah, I think I've seen that because of that thing they said, oh, Beastquake Part 2, and I'm like, I mean, it's impressive, but it's not as impressive as Beastquake. Don't be calling it Beastquake Part 2.
Yeah, no, obviously not. This moment, I think, is a little less hype now just because of how the guy's career has turned out. But the OBJ catch his rookie season against the Cowboys, when it happened, was one of the most jaw-dropping things I had ever seen. I didn't see it live, but I saw the highlights.
I think one-handed catches have just become more common, too. That's just part of a receiver's repertoire now.
That's true. Back then, that's a good point. But back then, we had never seen a catch like that before.
No. Especially, how he extended. He extended pretty far to get that.
Yeah, he extended back. The defender basically, had passed. They called defensive pass interference on that play, too. Which is wild to me. He literally had a penalty against him and still made that catch as a rookie.
Decline.
Yeah, no, decline. We're good. Touchdown. That play was insane. I guess a play I kind of hate is the Minneapolis Miracle, just because it's such an anticlimactic way to end, and I was cheering for the Saints. And the Saints safety literally just misses the tackle. But I'm sure if you're a Viking fan, it was awesome. I just don't like that play, but it was crazy.
I'm pretty sure the Saints safety missed it, and I think Marshawn Lattimore missed the tackle too. 2 players literally missed Stephon Diggs. And I'm like, guys, the game is on the line here. All you have to do is tackle him or get him out of bounds, and you can't do either of those things? Oh my god, There's no time on the clock.
I know. Literally, as time runs out, that just can't happen in a playoff game too.
I know.
A divisional game.
I was so upset.
Thankfully, the Eagles put that Vikings team to bed the next week, pretty resoundingly. Speaking of the Eagles, Nick Foles threw 7 touchdown passes in one game against the Raiders in 2013, 14, I think. It was the year Foles was basically our starter for the whole season, and he actually was awesome. He threw 27 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions.
That was the year they lost to the Saints in the Wildcard, right? And then the Saints lost to Seattle, who went on to win the Super Bowl that year.
That's correct. That Saints game was very sad. We've lost 2 heartbreakers in the playoffs to the Saints in the past decade, little over that, dude. We lost to them the year after we won the Super Bowl, too.
Yeah, it was 21-20, wasn't it? You only lost by a point.
Yeah, if Alshon Jeffrey catches a goddamn pass, we probably win that game. And honestly, we probably could have beaten that Rams team that year. The Rams team was good, but I don't think they were special or anything. I think we would have had a chance. So,
I think the Saints should have beaten that Rams team.
I think so too. Obviously,
the Rams had no business being in the Super Bowl that year. None. And the Patriots proved that because they only scored 13 points and still stomped them. They only allowed 3 points against the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams defense deserved a lot of credit for that season.
Yeah.
And that Super Bowl. But aside from that, it was basically hand the ball to Todd Gurley and pray. So, yeah. Still, I don't know. They made the Super Bowl. That's more than a lot of teams can say. Do you have any other big things you want to shout out or go to? I've got a couple.
I guess while we're talking about the Rams that season, we can talk about the Rams-Chiefs game.
Okay, sure.
So this game was it was the highest scoring game in however many years, I don't know. I think it's only the second game that's gone for 100 plus combined points in the 21st century, which is kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. Or at least the only regular season game, because there was that, or no, I don't think that game ended. It almost ended with 100 points. That the first time Aaron Rodgers went into overtime against the Cardinals, the Kurt Warner's last season. It was it was 44-44 or something like that, and it went into overtime. 45-45, my bad. And then Arizona beat them. But this game, it was a high-scoring game, and I don't know. I think the fourth quarter was very sloppy because I think Jared Goff threw 2 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes threw 3 interceptions. It was just a pick fest for a moment there.
Yeah. I actually didn't watch this game live. I wish I did. It sounded awesome.
It was pretty insane.
I was still like pretty young, and I think like Monday Night Football went pretty late, and so I had school the next morning, and I was like, "Peace out! I don't think anything crazy is gonna happen tonight."
It's like the most chaotic game ever.
Yeah, and I woke up and I was like, "Whoa, that's insane!" Obviously, that's the season Mahomes throws for 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards.
And a lot of people thought that was going to be the Super Bowl, and it almost was, even though I feel like, even though the Rams were the ones there, I feel like the Chiefs deserve to be there more.
I agree. I mean, the Chiefs played the Patriots extremely close, took them to overtime.
And the Saints got screwed.
Yeah. The Chiefs had a very, very tough offsides call that basically cost them that game. Brady throws an interception, but one of the Chiefs... I mean, it's a clear penalty. I'm not saying it shouldn't have been called. I'm just... Why are you lined up offsides? Like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
The Patriots win their 6. Yeah. No, that game is crazy, though. Just to happen in a regular season setting, and also for a game like that to live up to the hype, because the Rams were, like, only had one loss, I think, or were, like, undefeated at that point.
Yeah, I think they were like... I think they were 9-1 or something like that, because I think...
Yeah, and the Chiefs were, like, 8-2 or something like that. Like, it was crazy. People were really hyping it up, and it lived up to it, so that's awesome. Oh, that's right. We were talking about the Rams, then you brought up the Cardinals, Kurt Warner. I just want to go on a small tangent and say Kurt Warner. His career kind of underrated. I'm not saying he's like a top 5 quarterback of all time, but he wins one Super Bowl with the Rams. He makes another, loses to the Patriots, obviously. Then he comes back with the Cardinals and makes another Super Bowl. Loses to the Steelers, obviously, but...
Still the only
Kurt
Super Bowl the
kinda...
Cardinals have ever been to. That's the only reason that team's been there.
And Kurt was... I'd have to relook at the stats to get, like, super accurate, but he was great in that playoff run. Like, it wasn't like the Cardinals were stacked and Kurt was just along for the ride. He played really well throughout that postseason to get them there. So, shout out Kurt Warner.
Yeah, the Cardinals weren't stacked by any means. They went 9-7 that season.
Really?
I'm pretty sure they did.
That's crazy. Well, while Braden checks that, I'll bring up one of my favorite players of all time on the Eagles, Desean McCoy. Just an absolute demon in the snow. Particularly the one everyone brings up that I remember watching was against Detroit. A blizzard had come through Philadelphia, and they still played the game because football is awesome, and they're going to do that. And Desean McCoy rushed for 217 yards with 2 touchdowns of 57 and 40 yards. That is insane. There's tons of clips of him just juking people out of their shoes because the surface is so, like, people are slipping and sliding everywhere, and he's just making cuts like crazy. I love Shady McCoy. His prime with the Eagles was super fun to watch, and that game was awesome.
So that year the Cardinals did go 9-7. Their division just sucked, as that division tends to, apparently. That division just randomly sucks sometimes. They beat the Falcons in the wild card 30-24. I don't know if that was an overtime game or not, but then they destroyed the Panthers 33-13 in the divisional. Then they beat your Eagles 32-25 to go to the Super Bowl, only to lose to the other Pennsylvania team, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's right. That was like kind of the Eagles' last hurrah under Andy Reid.
Didn't they make like
really,
three NFC or like 4 NFC championships in a row or something like that? And
they made 4 in a row.
Yeah, they won one of them.
They only won one. Yeah, that's so tough. But yeah, that was like in the early to mid 2000s, and then that would have been what the Cardinals year would have been 2000.
08-09.
Yeah, so 08-09. So a little bit of a gap, and then they were right back in the NFC Championship. I assume Donovan McNabb was still the quarterback at that time. That's towards the end of his career, but he had some really good seasons. So yeah, shout out the Cardinals and Kurt Warner of 2008, 2009.
Yeah. Okay, I guess we can go ahead and talk about Super Bowl 51.
Super Bowl 51. Okay. Then we can let's just do back to back. Back to back 51, 52.
Screw
let's
it.
Get it out of the way.
Let's do it. Well, Super Bowl 51, obviously, insanity. The Falcons are just idiots. And there's been plenty of people that have either said it or like tried to simulate it that if the Falcons would have been better off just taking a knee every other play once it was halfway through the third quarter.
Yeah.
And probably they probably could have ran all the time off, and New England, they might have brought it back within a score, but probably wouldn't have had time to tie it up.
Because the thing is, like, the ultimate downfall was they had, I think, a fumble that was recovered by the Patriots, and Matt Ryan threw an interception. Or maybe it was only one or the other, but, like...
I know he fumbled.
Yeah. So that was biggest choke job in NFL history.
I don't remember if it was on the same drive he fumbled or not. I don't think it was. I think it might have been the drive after he fumbled. They were in field goal range again, and I think this was after the insane Julio catch on the sideline. Matt Ryan throws that bitch up. Julio is like double covered, doesn't matter. Catches that toe tap sideline. I'm like, oh my god, it's over. They're about to kick a field goal, and we're not going to be able to do anything. Then it was like, I'm pretty sure it was like penalty, sack, penalty. I'm like, what are the Falcons doing right now? This is crazy. And they fell out of field goal range because of all that.
I know. That's crazy. I mean, obviously, respect to the Patriots, you still have to have the mindset and the team and the player.
Just the fact that the Patriots, they were down 28-9, and instead of going for it once they were, like, in position, like, they were, I don't know if they were in the red zone, but they were in field goal range, and instead of going for it on fourth when they're down 28-9, they're like, a field goal will get us within 2 scores in all technicalities, let's just kick the field goal. I don't know if anyone besides Bill Belichick would make a move like that.
Yeah, I would have gone for it probably, but it worked out. Obviously, they go on to win that game. It kind of sucks for Matt Ryan because he was the MVP that year, and he actually played awesome up until that game. Like, his season that year,
he played awesome in the playoffs.
Incredible. Yeah,
he played awesome in the first half. I don't know what happened in the second.
I don't know either. That is the one stain on a remarkable quarterback season by Matt Ryan. Speaking of that Falcons team and that playoff run, to get to that Super Bowl in the NFC Championship, Julio Jones just goes nuclear against the Packers. Literally goes for 9 catches, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns as the Falcons destroy the Packers 44-21. Prime Julio was special. Like, I think Calvin Johnson's the best wide receiver I've ever watched with my own eyes, like live, not just highlight. And then after that, Prime Julio is like right there.
I'd agree with you. I miss Megatron so much. I loved watching him play all the time, dude. Like Thanksgiving Day, dude. God. Thanksgiving Day when he played, the Lions game was the game I looked the most forward to. I'm like, I get to see Megatron play today. Matthew Stafford just gonna be throwing his way all day. He's gonna have like 12 receptions, 5 touchdowns. They gonna steamroll whoever they playing in the Thanksgiving game, unless they're playing an elite team.
Yeah, but no, Megatron was awesome. But the Falcons, bro, 28-3. How do you let that happen? I don't know.
Yeah, we got to talk about that Edelman catch though. So insane.
I was gonna bring it up.
He has the wherewithal to release the football, then grip it back before it touches the ground, so it's a completed catch. Because of how NFL catch rules work. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
How do you, like, I know you're a veteran and you've, like, been doing this for years, but how, like, in that big of a moment, and I know he's on the Patriots, too, but that's only his second Super Bowl with them, right? Julian Edelman wasn't with them.
I think so, yeah.
It's only his second time there. Sure, he's with Brady. Brady knows. I'm sure he gives great advice what to do in that type of situation, but just to have the wherewithal, the awareness to do that is insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots have always been an organization that just seems like they're better at that type of stuff than everyone else, especially during the dynasty. Like, I know it's been talked about a lot how, like, Belichick would always have his, like, defensive players wear gloves that were the same color as the other team's jerseys so that it's harder for the ref to see holding penalties. Stuff like that is just, like, that's Belichick, bro. That's
smart.
That is pretty smart. Yeah, Lady Gaga was really good at that halftime show for that Super Bowl.
I did not watch that live because I was heated. I went outside and ran. I shot some basketball. I punched a punching bag. Then I went back to watch the game.
Well, I'm glad you did because it turned out to be another win for the Patriots.
Oh, dude, it was so awesome. Dude, my family... How they were staring at me after, like, James White takes it into the end zone for overtime. God, they were just staring at me like I was insane. They're like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid?
That's understandable. I definitely did some. I've done some parading around my house and jumping up and down and throwing pillows and stuff when the Eagles are in big spots. So I get it. Speaking of the Eagles being in big spots, they were in one against the Patriots again the very next season. The Patriots went to 3 Super Bowls in a row.
Hey, I can tell you this much. After this Super Bowl, I didn't go to school the next day. I did not go to school. I think it was my senior year. I was like, nah, I don't really want to feel. I don't want to feel. I don't want everyone to shit on me. I'll wait until Tuesday for that. Mondays are crappy enough.
I definitely went to school that next day, and I walked in there. I did like the Tony Stark Iron Man, like, yes sir, that's right.
We beat the dynasty. That's right.
This game is objectively great.
Yeah.
If you're just a football fan, it was back and forth, crazy offense. Like
so many trick plays, bro. The Philly special, the Pats kind of went for it and they failed, but
yeah, that was unfortunate. But so many great offensive moments and plays and numbers, but also very timely defensive plays that keep it from being just like a Chiefs Rams, even though that had defensive plays, but it wasn't a 50-50 game. It
wasn't as sloppy either, like that Chiefs Rams game was at times.
Mm-hmm. I just can't believe Nick Foles went toe-to-toe with Tom fucking Brady.
I can't believe that Tom Brady broke the record for passing yards in a Super Bowl and they still lost.
Yeah, I mean, that is probably the best quarterback performance in a Super Bowl loss. I mean, Jalen Hurts was pretty great in this past year's Super Bowl, but I think Brady was better, obviously. I mean, breaking the passing yard record. That is insane to still lose. The Philly special is one of my favorite plays ever. It's so creative and cool. Like, Nick Foles catches a touchdown pass. It's right before half, so it gives us all the momentum, which was really big because that was just such a tight game, like back and forth up until that point, and still remained a tight game throughout the entire thing. Zach Ertz catches a clutch touchdown, puts us on top, but I'm still like, I told my mom after we went back on top, there's like 3 minutes left or whatever, 2 minutes, I'm like, it's not over. The fucking Terminator is on the other side, Tom Brady.
This is like so right before we met too. Like this Super Bowl happened like 6 months before we knew each other. Like if we would have been texting each other this whole game, like fuck the Eagles, bro. You're like fuck the Pats, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, Mom, it's not over. And then my Lord and Savior, Brandon Graham, the greatest man to ever walk this earth, rips Tom Brady. And the Eagles get the ball, and then it basically ends it. The Patriots are able to get it back, but
like 30 seconds left. They need a touchdown, not only a touchdown, but a 2-point conversion to tie the game and take it into overtime, second year in a row. And yeah, they can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I will rub it in a little bit just because the Patriots won 6 goddamn Super Bowls. This is the Eagles' only one.
Hey, the Patriots already beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. They didn't need it.
That's true. That game was close, too. I mean, Donovan McNabb was kind of shitty in that game. But it's whatever. Nick Foles plays awesome. So many, clutch plays and clutch moments. Justin Timberlake does the halftime show, which is probably the worst part of this game.
Oh, I hated I did not like the halftime show. I didn't like the halftime show the next year either.
No, that was a bad stretch.
It was, yeah.
The only part of the halftime show I liked was the Prince tribute, because they were in Minneapolis. Other than that, it was not good. But yeah, I was so hyped after this. I was, running around my house doing it. My house is, we kind of have a loop for downstairs, and so I was running around that. I was, flapping my arms like a fucking eagle and shit. My family probably, again, thought I was nuts, but that just meant so much. It's the Eagles' first Super Bowl, first one since I've been a fan, obviously. Still their only one. First, the refs and the goddamn turf and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, whatever. But it was an awesome game. It is crazy that it happened right before we met. But, yeah. Eagles W. Common Eagles W. Not common. They have a lot of W's too.
I guess while we're on the topic of Super Bowls, we can just cover Tracy Porter's pick 6 on Manning to seal the Saints' first Lombardi. It's pretty impressive.
I've seen the highlight. I didn't watch the game. This was the Super Bowl before I started watching football.
Yeah, I didn't see the Super Bowl live either. The Packers-Steelers was the first one I saw live.
Yeah, that was the first one for me too. But yeah, Tracy Porter's interception.
Sean Payton's decision to kick an onside kick right outside of halftime and it paid off. Dude, that dude just had balls.
Yeah, he still does. That's the only reason I am somewhat confident in the Broncos not being that bad this year, being improved and being in playoff contention.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll do some surprising stuff here and there because it's Sean Payton. And it just goes balls to the wall sometimes. Fuck it.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't have that much more that I want to touch on. This was a good way to bide some time.
Well, while we're on the Saints, let's talk about Alvin Kamara's 6-touchdown Christmas game against the Vikings. Right. Some vengeance for that Minneapolis Miracle, bro.
I forgot about
They slaughtered them. They slaughtered the Vikings.
They absolutely did. I couldn't believe Kamara ran for 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, I know, it was insane.
His fantasy score for that game must have been wild.
Yeah, it was.
I had Jonathan Taylor, his breakout year, where he had a 5-touchdown game. I think it was the same season. And that was crazy. And then I also had Joe Mixon last year when he scored 5 total touchdowns, I think. He had
I know which
4
game.
rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown or something. But I did not have Alvin Kamara when he ran for 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, that was insane. I watched that game live, and I'm like, if you're a Saints fan watching that on Christmas, you're probably having the best Christmas of your life. You're like, holy hell, we're awesome.
Yeah. That was probably the best game they had all season that year, though. So I don't know how.
I don't know. They played pretty well that season. I think they went 13-3 again.
No, I think that's the year after they went.
Well, they went 13-3 2 or 3 seasons in a row. I'm pretty sure.
How many years has Breeze been gone? 2?
I think.
I think that Alvin Kamara game is the first year Breeze is gone.
It definitely wasn't because I still lived in Arkansas. And I watched Breeze's last playoff game here in Tennessee, so.
What year was
I'm pretty sure I still lived in Arkansas. I mean, I could have just been visiting for Christmas, too, since it was that time. I thought it was 2020, though.
Game, it was 2020.
Well, I guess I was visiting. That's right after I moved. But yeah, that was Breeze's second to last season, I'm pretty sure. He played one more season after that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, he would have that was his last season.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right, because that would have been Brady's first season in Tampa, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but one more regular season thing is there are 2 separate games where teams won off extra points, and one was against the Saints. The Broncos did it the year after Peyton Manning retired, and the Ravens randomly did it to the Browns one season, and I think it was a Monday night game, and I just randomly turned it on near then. I'm like, screw it, let's just see who wins this. And the Browns... the Browns score a touchdown, and they're kicking an extra point to go up by 2. And then it gets blocked, and the Ravens win by 1 or whatever.
And that's so tough.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And
that's crazy. I don't know how that happens. I think I remember the Ravens-Browns one. I don't remember the Denver. But
yeah,
that's the worst way to lose a game ever.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was the year before the Saints finally hit their stride and started going positive again. I think it was their last 7-9 season because they had 4 of those in a row. But the last thing I want to mention is San Francisco defeating Green Bay entirely with special teams, basically. Just insanity to me. It's a pretty boring game, but it's just absurd that a team can do that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the peak of the Rodgers is kind of a playoff choker was that game.
Yeah, because he scored the first touchdown of the first quarter and then no more after that.
The rest of the game. Can't get in the end zone again. The 49ers win. Winding down, I guess I do have some other stuff written, not big stuff. You remember back when Cam Newton was in his prime, the flip over at the goal line for a touchdown that he literally lands Like, he lands a front flip.
Yeah, he lands on his feet.
Yeah, that is crazy. That is like peak I'm him, Superman Cam Newton.
Yeah, that was Super Cam
awesome.
season.
Yeah, Super Cam. I remember Derrick Henry, the first, like, stiff arm against the Bills that went viral. He literally ends Josh Norman's life.
Oh, there was
sends him into another dimension.
I don't remember which season it was, but the Saints and Falcons, I think this was a Thanksgiving game day. It was a night game. Saints and Falcons had a game, and the Falcons recovered like 3 onside kicks in a row. And
I remember that.
And also, Cameron Jones, like, just flat out stiff armed Matt Ryan, made him look like a child.
Cameron Jordan?
Yeah, my bad. Did I say Jones?
No, you're good.
Yeah. I think I was thinking of Chris Jones and Cameron Jordan at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Both great defensive line players. But yeah, that's about all I have. This was fun though. I like talking about the NFL.
It's fun. A lot of crazy shit happens every season, so I'm ready for this one.
So am I. I hope it's fun. I hope it lives up to the anticipation. I'm sure it will, because the NFL always does somehow. But
yeah, because it's always different, really. Mm-hmm. At least a little bit. Something's different every season. I need it back in my life to make me feel alive. But we're gonna go back into hibernation for now.
What a bar! Yeah, we're gonna go hibernate, so we don't really need to be that alive.
Yeah, that's true. But not yet.
Yeah, no, our blood pressure like lowers and everything. It's not a big deal. But the NFL will be coming back, and we'll come out of hibernation then for sure.
Yeah, we'll be back.